Hey, what's up everybody? We're back in the Stage Alpha garage with me, Shaker, and we're finally working on the Celica engine. The timing belt water pump came in today, a couple of other parts, the rotor, wires, and cap. And we're still waiting on a couple other things to come in, but that's through him. That's through Rock Auto, so that'll be here for sure on Thursday. Maybe even tomorrow, if we're lucky. So, what we're going to do is we're going to jump in and get this intake. No, we're going to jump in and remove some engine bits right down to the block so we can replace the head gasket. That's what we're going to do. So let's jump up to the front end and we'll get into it. Alright, we're up front in the engine bay. I would have liked to take the hood off for a little more room, but with the new paint job, I ain't touching that. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull off the, first up, we're going to make sure we're at top dead center on the compression stroke of cylinder number 1 here. So I think we can remove the rotor. It says in the book anyway, for sure. I think we remove the cap there, check where the rotor is, make a mark, yada yada yada. Oh, no. Yeah, we remove the cap, and if it's pointing at cylinder number 1, then we are good. If it's 180 degrees, then we just spin the crankshaft 360 degrees, and that should bring us to compression stroke on the intake, I believe. Yes. Anyway, well, let's start with that. Looks like we need a Phillips for a 10 mil. 10 millimeters. There we are. We got a few sockets. So I believe this one's 10. Ooh, 8. Eight or a Phillips. I guess I could have grabbed a Phillips. Alrighty, with the old back and forth. Yeah, 8 fits. Let's just try Phillips for S's and G's. No, that won't work. Got our super long wobbly here. There we go, broke that off, no problem. Well, I didn't break it, loosened it. It's gonna be about time I get myself a tool cart. Did I say how it would be nice to have a tool cart? Just in case I didn't. All right. Bring this closer so you can see. So much oil leak, there was oil inside the cap. All right, according to the book, we're doing good. That's pointing down at number 1, technically. So I think the next step is we pull the distributor out or the valve cover off. Okay, then the next step then we have is removing a breather hose and the valve cover, 30 millimeter socket. I'm not sure these were tight enough at all. I just turned them all off by hand. Didn't need that at all. We'll make sure to torque these together properly when we put it back together. I'm thinking this is the breather hose it's talking about here, but yeah, that's definitely it. Oh, that's a stiff one. pull it off from the throttle body side. We'll just go ahead and take the throttle cable right off. And I think the easiest way to do that is just to pull the bracket off. I always like to put back as many bolts or nuts that I can, so I don't have to put them in a bag or set them in a box or something and then lose them. And little wire there just to unclip. Now old Puddin', he was pretty proud of his shiny Datsun motor, and this is what a not shiny motor looks like. We'll probably run some, oh, what's that stuff called? Seafoam through this after we get it put back together. Probably should have done that first, but yeah, well. Well, what do you think, peoples? What comes out next? The distributor? Just to warn you, this is probably going to be a pretty long video. So, sit back, relax. Next step, remove the fuel injector plugs. Covered in oil on this side. I'm almost positive that valve cover gasket, or valve cover, was not torqued down at all, and that's where it was leaking from. I'm not sure if he's dead. You know, police are fining guys in Ontario for having modified mufflers and whatnot. I tell you, when them dang Harley bikes and stuff go by, they're pretty gosh darn loud. It's a good thing New Brunswick hasn't got into that stupid BS yet. Must be 4:30. Boys are all getting home from work or getting off work and taking their rides out. Could be some ladies too, sorry. My apologies. I hate these kind of clips. As I toss that thing away, don't want to do that. All right. How free are we? All right, now we're disconnecting this fuel part here, fuel line. Try to catch as much fuel as possible with the man, That's just too much coming out of there. That thing is pouring. That can't be right. I'm gonna leave that plug back in for now. Ooh-wee, that's a lot of fuel coming out of there. Okay, we're back. We do have to disconnect that. We're gonna do it after. I'm gonna try not to piss fuel everywhere. What else are we supposed to disconnect? Got some vacuum lines, I'm sure.
That's today.
Cool.
That's a tomorrow problem. Did your stuff come?
Yeah.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh, good. What'd you get?
Parts for your car.
What?
Just the time belt and stuff for your car, nothing too exciting.
Oh.
It's all apart now. Can you grab me a Sharpie?
In the house?
Yeah, I'll have it on the Sharpie.
Yeah.
Thanks. We'll go around and put some vacuum or some tape on these vacuum hoses so we can see where they go and put them back where they go. Okay. What are you doing? Bath?
Yeah, maybe. I might check in with Mom. See if I can see the baby before she goes to bed.
Okay, sounds good.
Just with the time change, and I think we can usually get her in bed by 7:30
Alright.
or something like that.
I'm just gonna do a bit more of this video doing this. So.
Okay, you cut me out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love you too.
I won't be out again.
Okay.
I'll wait for you to come
Well,
in.
just text me or whatever.
I'm gonna, the stuff for tonight is just something in the oven, so.
Okay.
That's
Sounds
what I
good.
probably have.
Love you. Just gonna use a simple numbering system. I'm gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4. Sun dipped away pretty quick. I guess that's what happens when clouds appear. Gotta go underneath. It's oily down here. Okay, here we go again. We're gonna try and get this fuel line off. We got a little cup this time to hopefully help us out. That is a lot of fuel coming out of there. Good thing I got this spare gas jug. Next thing we need to do is remove the throttle body. Just a few taps, take care of that. Now we might be able to get those pliers in there to get those hoses off. All right, you got the throttle body. Definitely will need a good cleaning. It's chunky. All right. Oh, I forgot about that. Dripping fuel everywhere still. Definitely gonna have to change oil after that one. I was gonna do it anyway, don't worry. Now I'm gonna take the head and manifold off as one. There we go. I undid the gas cap and that seemed to have stopped the drip. Good. That was a lot of fuel. Watched a guy do this on a RAV4, same engine, but I'm thinking what he did was probably a good idea. He took this main harness and unplugged it right from inside the car. I'm thinking I might do the same thing. Alright, get some of that wire out of the way. We'll go get the rest of the spark plugs out of the way. You guys read along for me. They're pretty burnt, black. I believe I replaced the spark plugs before we drove across the country, which was about 6,000 kilometers. Well, about 5,000 I guess, 5,500 for us. Didn't go all the way to Newfoundland this time. After this, we remove the alternator bracket and then the power steering pump. Maybe a 14, is these 14s, are these 14s? Yeah, they're 14s, but they're tough 14s. Let's get something better. Well, it's time for a break anyway, so we'll let that air compressor compress up and then we'll be back. Alright, so we got the timing cover off now, we got that alternator bracket off, power steering pump is loosened, the belt off, and we got the mirror to see inside the cam gear to make sure that it was at top dead center. I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so we get the light positioned. So inside that little hole there's a little mark that you have to line up to make sure that it's at top dead center. And we're at 0 down here. Now that that's all done, we should be able to continue with removing the head. Oh, and I got that wire. I didn't pull it all the way out, but I did pull it. I did unplug it from the ECU and pull it up a bit so I can just have it sitting up and out of the way there. There we go. So now we got a, from what I understand with the book here, we have to undo this tensioner bolt so we can unhook this spring and release the belt. Looks like a 14 again, but I could be wrong. 14mm it is. What did I do with the ratchet? Left it on the crankshaft. That's what I did with it. The skeeters are bad this evening. It is that time of the year. Okay, that bolt's loosened. Oh, I unhooked the spring, it says. And there's the spring. I'm guessing the belt should slide off. Oh, hitting you guys around again. Just abusing you. There we are. I think we better check with our mirror to make sure we're still where we're supposed to be. And there's our timing pulley, camshaft pulley. Better set that out of the way so we don't hurt it. Alright, well that's it for the night, I think, people. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Well, we're back at it. It's the next morning. We're going to go ahead and get the lower timing cover off, the pulleys and stuff, and we'll get in there and hopefully start getting that stuff changed up. And then we'll take the cylinder head off, replace the head gasket, put it back on, and that'll be pretty much it for today. We'll have to wait for the assembly lube. It gets here tomorrow, as well as the new belts, the alternator and power steering. We do have the timing belt. So other than that, you basically just got to jump into it. Well, it's a little hard to see in here, but we're going to get this lower timing cover off, and then there's a gear behind here, and we'll change the water pump and whatnot. I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of working on the front wheel drive sometimes. She's a tight fit. I think I have all the screws out. There we are. That's the lower timing cover. Soaked in oil. Absolutely filthy. Oh, what a mess. Well, we don't plan on reusing the timing belt, so we don't have to worry about marking it. The pulley should slide off the crank quite easily. Whoa, just beating you guys up, aren't I? Holy. You guys are just having a tour with me. There's our spacer, so obviously that goes towards the gear that side. There's our belt. Not in bad shape actually, but good that we're changing it. Oh, it was a Toyota belt. It must have been done by Toyota for the last timing belt change. Cool. Or somebody just liked to use GM or OEM parts, not GM. The pulley should slide off the crank quite easily, really. I don't know if we get to do one of those anyway. Just to show you where we're at now, we've removed the oil pump to clean that up. We've replaced the main crank seal here. And now we're going to put the new gasket in for the oil pump, put the oil pump back on, and I think we can start putting some of those gears back together, and then we'll move around to the top and get that head off. Well, we just finished up torquing the oil pump back on. That seal, it wasn't exactly, I think, formed right. I had a couple, and I finally got one of them to work, and we got the oil pump back on, torqued down, new crankshaft, oil seal, and now we're going to take the cams out and take the head off. And I think we might have a problem with the power steering pump, so we're gonna have to look into that as well. But we'll wait until we get the head off for that. And to get the head off, we're gonna have to take the distributor off. It says we gotta take the intake manifold off, but I'm gonna try to leave that on and pull it all at once and just set it on the bench and work on it. So let's get this head off. Oh, and I got a bucket of bolts. I have, not a bucket of bolts, a bucket of parts soaking in the greaser. We'll get cleaned up, timing cover and water pump housing and stuff like that, valve cover. Throw you guys on a time lapse here.
Huh. I know what they want. 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 Right. Right. Right.
Well, as you can see, we got the head and intake and everything removed. So it's just the block in here now, really. I think I'm gonna replace the fuel filter because it's way down in there. And I might fix the power steering pump by replacing it. There was no fluid in the reservoir, so I don't know how good that pump actually is. And then if we come around to the back, whoop, before we knock everything over, we can have a look at what else we got going on. So we've got the head there. We gotta get it all cleaned up. There's all our cams and caps. Down on the floor we have the intake. So I think what I'm gonna do tonight is just clean up these parts, get them all ready to go back on, and tomorrow we'll continue with the installation, hopefully, of getting these parts on. We'll see you then. Alrighty. Old gasket, don't need that. Block's all cleaned up. New gasket, do need that. What do we got? A little warning here. Handle careful, delicate. Very good, very good. Now we want to set that just down on the dowels, apparently. That looks mighty good. We should go get the head, I guess, and we'll set that back down. Oh, okay, let's see if we can break this gasket. Huh? Ah, that doesn't look too bad. I think we worked out okay. May survive for another day. Suppose now we should put some head bolts in it. Next step, really. Oh, as you can tell, I took the intake manifold off, cleaned it up, and put a new gasket in that as well. Keep the trusty manual handy. Some oil to dip our bolts. Cloth to make sure we didn't do too much. And some high performance assembly lube. Here's our new head bolts. We'll just go ahead and drop them down in there individually. Yes, sir. Apply a small amount of clean oil. Easier for us folks to see over this angle. Gasket's going in and mosquitoes are dying. Holy, they are relentless. Springtime is here, the mosquitoes are biting me like a crazy person. Some of them don't die when you squeeze them in your hand. Sometimes they get away. See, that one got away. It's alright to have dead mosquitoes in the head. You know, I do wish I had a 12-point impact. I'll look around and see if I have one. I don't think so. I don't know if this little 3/8 is actually going to torque those head bolts. I wish I had the Allen head style that came out. Okay, here we go. We're gonna start tightening them all down. We'll see you when we get down to torquing. Oh, I made a boo-boo. Oh shit. Didn't beat the gasket up too much, did we? No. When you set the cylinder head down, you really should make sure that it is sitting properly. Luckily we didn't hurt anything, so we'll try again. There we are. And now we can put the head bolts in. That's it, easy. Sometimes you just make mistakes, right? Just happens. I also must say that I enjoy rear wheel drives a little bit more than front wheel drives, I think, for working on. So we're getting it. All right, well, this is surprising me. The book's only calling for 47 foot-pounds on these heads. And no special and no extra tightening or a second sequence. All right, that's it. So again, I was very surprised when you come back here. Cylinder head bolts, 3S-FE engines, 47 foot-pounds, no second sequence. So heads installed. We can put some cams in. Cool. All right, let's put a little assembly lube. Okay, so we do the intake first because it's what comes up first in the book here. Refer to a bunch of illustrations. That's cool. I forgot to put the lifters back in though. What? We'll get there. We'll get there. Now we can install the intake cam. Well, 14 foot-pounds, 168 inch pounds for the camshafts. So we're just gonna install these the way they say to do her. 1/4 inch at a time. Because I live my life 1/4 inch at a time. Alright, intake's in. I think it's correct. So let's get the exhaust cam in now. We'll put the lifters in first this time. Yeah, so lifters, camshaft, bearing caps, and then we can get back to putting the time belt together, I think. Well, what a day it's been. We've got the timing belt back on, crank pulley back on, new water pump, tensioner, idler pulleys. We got the cams back in, torqued down. Power steering's back on, hooked up. And I started connecting some of these vacuum lines. Remember how we wrote the numbers down? Well, you really want to do that and then wash it and wipe all the numbers off. That's how you want to do this. So you just, hopefully you're putting the ones back where they go. You don't want to know exactly, do you? You might, I don't. So I think we can put the harness back over now, flop that down, and plug in the injectors, add a few more bits on here, and we're getting pretty good. Okay, we're gonna put the distributor back in. We're gonna need a new distributor, I think, though. The car's been a little hard to start. I think this might be why. This plastic is around here is all cracked, so I don't know if stuff's escaping. It's not supposed to escape. Voltage is jumping, but this is what we have for right now, so this is what we're going to use. Got some shiny new Bosch spark plugs. Supposed to be gapped to 0.44. Well, we're back at it for another day. Time to get the throttle body on and the exhaust on. Well, the header or exhaust manifold and catalytic converter, because that's all we have. The rest we need to build. Should be a loud start. But we'll get the throttle body on, get all those hoses hooked up where they're supposed to go, and we're pretty much done. Other than that, we have to change the oil, drop the oil pan, change the oil pan gasket, put the radiator back in. I haven't hooked up the power steering pump yet. I don't know if it's any good. I guess we'll find out if it starts pissing out fluid everywhere. Well, it's been a bit of a battle. Wait till those cars go by. We got the exhaust going back on. Vacuum lines are all hooked up now. Missing 2 bolts for the power steering reservoir. Don't know where I set them or why I didn't screw them back into the firewall or sidewall. think everything else is hooked up pretty much. There's one connector there that's not done yet, but that might be something else somewhere. We'll find it. I had the alternator on, but to get to this bolt you gotta have the alternator off. My bad, should have known better. Let's go ahead and zap these on. Awesome. So we have the exhaust manifold and the catalytic converter, and there's no other pipe after that. We have to hopefully buy the welder and build it ourselves. Because I need to save my other money for, I want to get the transmission filter changed and serviced and stuff. I don't want to do that. I don't have a hoist. If I had a hoist, I would do it no problem, but I don't like doing transmission work on the floor. Call me fussy, but that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Get our heat shield back on here. Plug in the O2 sensor. Dipstick back. And I guess we'll wait to put most of the air filter box back in. No, we should do that now. No, do it. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Let's put this half back in at least. There's that. Easy enough to plug the hoses back on. Well, let's think about it. Throttle body's connected, intake manifold's connected, exhaust is connected, alternator, timing. Oh, right here. I need to find the bolts for this and plug in the ECU. Awesome. That's no problem. No problem whatsoever. If you ever have a socket or a nut or bolt that you got to get on or off and it's hard, just keep slipping out, take a little bit of gasket maker or some paper towel and gently lower it down in. It should stay in the socket for you. Well, I'm gonna go look for a couple bolts and go get some radiator fluid and some oil, and we'll be back hopefully to start this up again. See if I messed it up or not.